and welcome to Landmark Talks Property, the series where we speak with leading voices shaping the future of residential surveying and valuation. Today, I'm joined by Fiona Haggett, a highly respected expert in the valuation space. Fiona will be speaking at the Residential Surveyor and Professional Conferences this autumn, where we'll discuss the evolving challenges and expectations facing valuers today. As sponsors of the conferences, Landmark Valuation Services is excited to bring to you this sneak preview, a chance to hear from Fiona ahead of her session and to get a flavour of what's to come. What are the biggest challenges you see in the current landscape, Fiona?
It's changed a lot over the years. So I've been in valuation 40 odd years. And when I first started, it was pretty straightforward, but the amount of information you had about a property was limited. These days, the amount of information that surveyors have access to and their clients have access to and the public have access to is huge. So it's losing quite a few of the more basic valuations, the simpler valuations, which are going through AVMs, but it's also that expectation from both clients and the public that the surveyor will have done that research and will have accessed the information that they also have access to that's publicly available. It's quite a challenge for surveyors to keep on top of everything that's changing. And it's just, as expectations change with the public and the buyers. So, yeah, well, that's one of the challenges. The other challenge is the erosion of fees. So the fees are pretty much the same as when I was doing surveying 20 odd years ago. They haven't changed an awful lot. So that's another challenge they have. So there's almost a greater expectation to do the more complex cases because the simpler ones are done by automated systems, AVMs. But the fee income is not changing hugely.
Absolutely, I totally agree, and thank you. You've highlighted some really important topics there. So how are expectations shifting for valuers, whether from lenders, clients or regulators?
Well, I mean, expectations have always been pretty high of valuers. We want the value of the property to be as accurate as possible. The expectations have changed since 2008 in terms of the documentation sitting behind it, quite rightly so. After the challenges of the last crash, it's really, really important that there's full documentation sitting behind every valuation that somebody else can come in and fully justify. So that does take time. So the surveyor or the valuer hasn't got an awful lot more time to do the job, but there's an awful lot more paperwork involved now than they're ever used to, as I say, quite rightly. There's also an expectation in terms of turnaround. That's always been there, but it's never been bigger. People want things now. So they're expecting valuers to do that work and get it turned around and back out again really, really quickly. Conveyancers are also expecting valuers to contribute an awful lot more. So when I was out in the field doing valuations day to day, post-valuation queries weren't huge in number, but the amount of information that comes through from conveyancers now is huge. And the level of post-valuation queries. It's something we are trying to address and to try and keep a lid on, but there's an enormous amount of information coming out that the valuer has to revisit their valuation. And then, of course, there's the move to remote inspections. So a number of years ago, we did pavement inspections with drive-bys. Now, with the access to digital data, desktop valuations have grown exponentially, particularly driven by the years in COVID. So there's that expectation that you're going to use the digital tools you've got to be able to come up with an accurate valuation. So there's a lot of changing expectations, and it's all driven by technology.
I found you speaking about the shift of the expectations from the conveyancers to valuers particularly interesting. So thank you for sharing those insights. Do you think we're at a turning point in valuation methodologies or mindset?
The valuation methodology is pretty much the same as it always has been. The approach for the comparable method of valuation, that's not going to change. Mindsets, Yes. So a long time ago, when I was out in the field doing valuations, nothing much changed. It was pretty static. But with technology, things started changing around the turn of the century, and that is getting faster and faster and faster. So we started off going from paper site notes to some very crude laptops and whatever. Now site notes are all taken on tablets. It's very efficient, but also what it does do is take away some of the element of judgment from some of the valuers, because it drives you down a certain route. And that's fine as long as it drives you down the right route. Sometimes it does come up with the wrong outcomes. So the use of tablets is a blessing and a curse, all at the same time. It does mean that site notes are easily available and comparables are easily available to anybody. I, as a lender, can call up surveyors comparables and they're with me instantly. So it's a huge improvement from that perspective. But the challenge around these tablets remains in terms of making sure that it doesn't drive the wrong behaviours or produce the wrong outcomes. With improved AVMs, they've extended their reach as well. So we're finding that, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of the simpler valuations are going to AVMs, and it's more complex valuation that surveyors are having to do. That's a great opportunity for surveyors in terms of getting a greater amount of respect for the profession, but surveyors need to, or valuers need to stand up and live up to that, and produce good, accurate valuations and proofread their reports before they go out. We get an awful lot of reports with typos on it that are produced by tablet where they've clicked the wrong button, and they just don't make sense. So proofreading is really critical when you're not dictating the report from scratch.
Absolutely, yeah. I think there's some really valuable outtakes from that where you can help to improve those processes. Without giving too much away, what key takeaway do you hope people will walk away with from your session?
Well, one of the questions I'm always getting asked is there a future for valuers? Is it all going to be done electronically? So the key takeaway is, yes, there is a future for valuers. There is always going to be a need for valuers. The electronic valuation, digital valuations can't work without input from valuers. The two need each other. So there's always going to be a need for valuers. The important thing for valuers to do is to not fight the technology and to embrace it and to use it to their advantage. So that there's a plethora of information out there. Make sure you use it, and make sure you apply it, and make sure you prove your worth, because yeah, you are worth an awful lot to the lending institutions. You're worth a lot to your clients. Prove it, by using all that data and technology out there, and embrace the changes that are happening, with the well, we've got AI coming in now to valuations as well. Embrace it, use it.
Absolutely. I think you've made a really valid point there. Technology is advancing and it really is there to help surveyors and valuers to be more efficient. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. Fiona, I'd like to say a huge thank you to you for those valuable insights. We're really looking forward to hearing more during your session at the Residential Surveyor Professional Conferences this autumn. As sponsors, Landmark Valuation Services will also be at the event. Come say hello, catch up with the team, and see what we've been working on to support surveyors and valuers across the industry.